All right, let's do it.
Wait, I want to do the thing.
Should I do it too?
There we go.
Welcome, everyone, to a special playthrough we're doing over here at Zelda Dungeon for The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past.
Other way.
It's Goo and Corey here, of course. And look, I was looking on. We were talking about games to play together and stuff. I was looking on the Zelda Dungeon channel, and this game has never been never had a walkthrough or a let's play or a warfare or anything like that. We've even done second quest of the first Zelda fan games, and I don't think this game has been run on the channel. So
that's absolutely criminal, if I say so myself.
I agree. So what we were thinking here was we're just gonna do like a sort of a casual playthrough of the game, me and you, and we're gonna just
classic let's play
pass the controller. We're playing so we can swap player one whenever we feel like, and we're just gonna show off this like the gold standard of the Zelda series, or at least classic Zelda, I think. So, but one great aspect about these retro games, especially of the NES, Super Nintendo era, is they had these wonderful manuals that came with the game that set the mood and the tone and told you how to play the game and everything. And so we thought, in an old school fashion, let's bust open the manual and
let's read that manual.
Before we get into the story of the game and like the world of the game, let's see what they tried to communicate to the player beforehand. Here it is.
Great artwork in there.
Including this amazing title screen, if you will. Super Nintendo. Of course, we've got the official Nintendo seal of quality.
Seal, baby.
And then, there's information here just about, technical hardware information. And we've got this amazing table of contents with the... Yeah, look at that. Look, there's even a section, Lore of Hyrule.
Heroic equipment. Life and magical power. Lore of Hyrule. Dungeon knowledge.
Look, before starting the game, so we're in the right spot. Just look at this Master Sword.
This is one of the best pieces of artwork in general from the series. I love this. The Master Sword in the forest with the light shining down.
We need the Book of Medora for down here. So here we'll take turns maybe reading some of the manual here. So maybe I'll start us off and I'll tell you about the Legends of Hyrule. To set the stage for this adventure of the legendary hero of Hyrule, it will be informative to delve into the Triforce myth, an ancient epic about the creation of the world that is still believed in the land of Hyrule. Every culture has such myths and theories about the creation of their worlds, and it can be beneficial and entertaining to examine them in detail, for they often affect the present-day social structure. Wow. These legends say the mythical gods of Hyrule had as their chosen people the Hylia. These ancient people left scrolls that are the primary source of the legends. So that's so cool. It's
so rad. So much world building right off the bat.
That's one thing.
Super in-depth world building.
As we get into the game, I feel like because the game doesn't spend a ton of time on lore and dialogue, like what they do give you and the way they present it being kind of sparse, it does feel super mythical and cool. So, for example, the creation of Hyrule, and we've got, can I get in here, this amazing piece of art. We'll see it a little, actually here. Yeah, that's good. We'll get a little bit more as we go on. Oh no, it fits there.
It's a creation myth.
Look at this. Art. Oh shoot. Look at this screen. It's just so...
It's sick.
Okay, Corey, do you want to read the creation of Hyrule? Okay, cool.
All right. According to the Hylian scrolls, the mythical gods descended from a distant nebula to the world that was and created order and life. The god of power dyed the mountains red with fire and created land. The god of wisdom created science and wizardry and brought order to nature. And the god of courage, through justice and vigor, created life, the animals that crawl the land and the birds that soar in the sky. After the gods had finished their work, they left the world, but not before creating a symbol of their strength, a golden triangle known as the Triforce. A small but powerful portion of the essence of the gods was held in this mighty artifact, which was to guide the intelligent life on the world of Hyrule. Although it was an inanimate object, the Triforce had the power to bestow 3 titles which gave the person who received them great powers: the Forger of Strength, the Keeper of Knowledge, and the Juror of Courage. The dogs are freaking out about that.
Juror of Courage!
Juror of Courage! From its hiding place in the so-called Golden Land where the gods placed it, the Triforce beckoned people from the... from the outside world to seek it in the hope that someone worthy of these titles would find it. With their magic-infused blood, the Hylian people were endowed with psychic powers and skill in wizardry. It was also said that their long, pointed ears enabled them to hear special messages from the gods, so they were held in high esteem by many people in Hyrule. Their descendants settled in various parts of the world and passed on their knowledge and magical lore to all people, but in its passing, the lore was often distorted or lost altogether.
So again, only fragments. So cool. The creation story. It's something people associate that kind of story, I think, with that scene in Ocarina of Time. But here we see it here, and as you were reading it, actually, I did kind of picture editor's note. We have to have in the cool music from Ocarina of Time, where it's like, oh,
yeah. I totally forgot about the titles, the 3 titles. The Juror of Courage and the Keeper of Knowledge. That's so cool.
That's awesome.
That's something, this is already nailing home something that I feel like they kind of almost abandoned after this game, which is like, this is supposed to be set where like the Hylians are an ancient people. So this whole game is framed as in like, you are the last of a certain line and you're like the last hope for this world type thing, and like all the magical stuff is like ancient backstory that's kind of just part of the world that adds that extra layer. Yeah. And whereas like in comparison to other games, Hylians are just the people that live there, you know? Where in this, it's like, oh, the ancient Hylians.
Well, I get the sense here that like it's sort of a thing of like the people in this game are, you know, they descend from that, but they're so far removed from it, you know. It's like,
yeah, exactly.
Very,
it's mythic.
Yeah. All right, let me tell you about gates to the Golden Land. In Hyrule, there are many Hylian buildings which are mentioned repeatedly in the legends. These buildings, which now lie in ruin, pale shadows of their former splendor, are closely tied to the Triforce. Some were said to house the Triforce itself. If it were only a symbol of the gods, the Triforce would be coveted by many. But a verse from the Book of Medora, a collection of Hylian legends and lore, made the Triforce even more desirable. In a realm beyond sight, the sky shines gold, not blue. There, the Triforce's might makes mortal dreams come true. That's giving a little bit of rhyming Triforce from the cartoons. And then, let's take this in here.
Another classic, top-tier piece of artwork. This is what I think of when I think of the Golden Land.
Yes. Yeah. I was just talking about this somewhere where we were talking about kind of like the return of sort of the sky elements of the game. Some of this imagery, it kind of really comes from this stuff here, you know.
Yeah.
Many aggressively searched for the wish-granting Triforce, but no one, not even the Hylian sages, was sure of its location. The knowledge had been lost over time. Some said the Triforce lay under the desert. Others said it was in the cemetery in the shadow of Death Mountain, but no one ever found it. That yearning for the Triforce soon turned to lust for power, which in turn led to the spilling of blood. Soon, the only motive left among those searching for the Triforce was pure greed. One day, quite by accident, a gate to the golden land of the Triforce was opened by a gang of thieves skilled in the black arts. This land was like no other. In the gathering twilight, the Triforce shone from its resting place high above the world. In a long-running battle, the leader of the thieves fought his way past the followers in lust for the golden power. After vanquishing his own followers, the leader stood triumphant over the Triforce and grasped it with his blood-stained hands. He heard a whispered voice, "If thou hast a strong desire or dream, wish for it." And in reply, the roaring laughter of the brigand leader echoed across time and space and even reached the far-off land of Hyrule. The name of this king of thieves is Ganondorf Dragmire, but he is known by his alias, Mandrag Ganon, which means Ganon of the Enchanted Thieves. Wow, sick alter ego, Mandrag Ganon?
Yeah, Mandrag Ganon.
No one ever drops that one. I feel like that's so dope.
Yeah. This is so metal. This is sick.
Truly.
It's like a sick battle and he grabs it with blood-stained hands and...
Truly metal.
Awesome.
Okay, Corey,
Great
tell us
here.
about the imprisoning war.
You go and learn about the imprisoning war.
This piece here is also amazing.
Well, I like that we get a little bit of a narrator POV too. I do not know what Ganon wished for from the Triforce. However, in time, evil power began to flow from the Golden Land, and greedy men were drawn there to become members of Ganon's army. Black clouds permanently darkened the sky, and many disasters beset Hyrule. The Lord of Hyrule sent for the 7 wise men and the Knights of Hyrule, and ordered them to seal the entrance to the Golden Land. The Triforce, being an inanimate object, cannot judge between good and evil. Therefore, it could not know that Ganon's wishes were evil, it merely granted them. Suspecting that Ganon's power was based on the Triforce's magic, the people of Hyrule forged a sword resistant to magic, which could repulse even powers granted by the Triforce. This mighty weapon became known as the Blade of Evil's Bane, or the Master Sword. It was so powerful that only one who was pure of heart and strong of body could wield it. As the 7 wise men searched for a valiant person to take up the Master Sword, Ganon's evil army swarmed from the tainted Golden Land into Hyrule and attacked the castle. The wise men and the Knights of Hyrule combined forces to wage war on this evil horde. The Knights took the full brunt of the fierce attack, and although they fought courageously, many a brave soul was lost that day. However, their lives were not lost in vain, for they bought precious time for the 7 wise men to magically seal Ganon in the Golden Land. All of Hyrule rejoiced at the victory that upheld peace and order over Ganon's evil and chaos. This war, which had claimed many lives, became known as the Imprisoning War in stories told in later centuries.
So even here with our villain, it's like there's a, it's different. At the time, it was like there is a bit of a history of Ganon. Here it kind of plays on that a little bit, but obviously it's not exactly how the quote-unquote lore turns out. But it is interesting.
Yeah.
Like even this foe you're facing in this game, it has like this long history of like challenging the lands and like trying to conquer it and stuff like that. And he had to be sealed away, like, because he's so powerful.
Yeah, he had to be sealed in the Sacred Golden Land. That is something that I really like about this too, is like that whole section just drops a bunch of lore that is like, now some stuff does kind of get retconned, but that sets up a whole, like, we just learned so much about the Triforce and why the Master Sword was created, how it kind of works, and that stuff carries throughout like the whole series.
Absolutely. And now we have the coming of the wizard. And look at this. Maybe let's get a full shot of this. Oh yeah, the
that
wizard.
Dude, That dude freaky.
Okay, so many centuries have passed since the imprisoning war. The land of Hyrule healed its wounds, and the people lived in peace for a long time. Memories of the vicious imprisoning war faded over the generations. So it is no surprise that no one was prepared for the new disasters that have recently struck Hyrule. Pestilence and drought, uncontrollable even by magic, ravaged the land. The king of Hyrule, after counsel with the sages, ordered an investigation of the imprisoned Dark World, as the Golden Land had come to be known. But the wise men's seal was apparently intact. He offered rewards for anyone who could find the source of these troubles. In answer to these summons, a stranger named Aghanim came and quelled the disasters with a previously unseen form of magic. As a reward, the king gave him a new position as chief advisor and heir to the 7 wise men. Whoa. The masses proclaimed him the hero. Peace had returned to Hyrule. Or had it? Of late, rumors have traveled their whispering path with alarming frequency. Rumors saying Aghanim now rules the country with his magic. Rumors of strange magical experiments in the castle tower at night. Wow, the people of Hyrule were gripped by dread. So it's such a good atmosphere going on, right?
Yeah. This is that too, like all that stuff, the wizard, the Dark World, the imprisoning war, that's even the imprisoning war is something that was directly like spun on in the latest Legend of Zelda game. They basically made a new but also kind of parallel, similar imprisoning war. So this and the sages sealing Ganon, that's like that all starts here.
So now, and we'll get we'll probably watch. There's like a little cutscene as well in the game that kind of has some of that set up, and then this even overlaps a bit with the game story. So we have kind of this to like help paint the picture of the game. So Corey, prologue.
One night, a girl's voice awakens you from your sleep. Help me! My name is Zelda. I am in the castle dungeon. She telepathically pleads. You jump out of bed, not knowing whether the voice was part of a dream or reality. Upon leaving your bed, you find your uncle, who should be fast asleep at this time, preparing to go out, girded for battle. I'll be back by morning, he says as he departs. Don't leave the house. You watch him leave with the family sword in hand and shield on arm. This is a night like no other. Who is Zelda? Where had your uncle gone, and for what reason? And so, on an ill-fated night, a new chapter in the Legend of Hyrule's hero begins. A new chapter in The Legend of Zelda!
Bum, 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 bum. Okay, very cool. Now we move on from like lore and stuff like that, and we're gonna get a little bit more personal. We're talking to you, the player. So, your quest as the legendary hero. The Golden Land of the Triforce has become a dark world, corrupted by Ganon's evil wishes. However, this is not enough for Ganon. He also wants to make Hyrule, the Light World, his own. To do this, he needs to break the seal of the 7 wise men. But he cannot do this with his power alone. He must also use the life force of the descendants of the 7 wise men. With Aghanim the wizard as his pawn, this is about to become a reality. Thus, the late night experiments in the castle tower. Jeez.
Oh. Look at that artwork of Zelda. That's so good.
And now this classic bit with Link.
You'll love that.
You, as the legendary hero of Hyrule, must enter the Dark World on a quest to save the maidens that Aghanim has sent there. The aim of the game is to solve the many mysteries and adventures that await you, along the way to rescuing the maidens, defeating Ganon, and returning peace to Hyrule. Let's see, what else we got? That might be... Okay, so we're not going to go...
Yeah, and it's some game stuff.
I would recommend, if you've never played the game, kind of going through and reading some of this stuff, there's some things like, you're probably used to now of creating a character and stuff like that. So, I mean, it is nice that's in here, but, erasing a player, I think you can probably figure that out. But, I mean, I will say this is really well designed. So, I'll give him that. But there's other info in here just in terms of how the game works. You're
explaining the UI.
Even your pause screen, what all this stuff is. Obviously this I would maybe is more refer to it if you need it. And then, I always like to go over controls when I'm playing an old game, especially like a manual. Actually, believe it or not, it's very valuable for that, because we're gonna see how this game, how it tutorializes. It just throws you into it, and you have to figure it out as you go. So if you need a little bit more, you can learn here that moving the control pad will move you around the screen. But also, I love it. They throw in really nice artwork.
Look at that artwork. Link's not wearing any pants. Jeez.
I know, it's kind of dangerous here.
Put some pants on, buddy.
You got Link running around. It tells you about the action button.
Classic.
More great artwork. Reading, grasping. You never know. Some of this might be helpful, but look at this.
The whirling blade technique.
Look at that.
Canonically, the whirling blade technique.
I think that's what... And so what do you think happens there? It's just like he really has a lot of razzle-dazzle? Is that...
Yeah, I guess so. It's just releasing some magic or something.
That I can see that, Look, we got this artwork in here again. Why not? See, this is good stuff to know, like how to block things with your shield, Stand still sometimes. We got the flute.
The flute.
I like this. They just explain, all the items in the game to you. Bottles. You get the idea. We can kind of...
very helpful.
It tells you all about Light World, Dark World. These maps are awesome. Look at this.
Power up.
That's so good. Just love these items. The rest of this is just us scrolling and going like, oh, look at the moon pearl.
Yeah, pretty much.
Saving.
I love that artwork.
That's such a vibe. Yeah.
There's a remade one. We talked about it in another video. There's a remade one like for the Link to the Past Game Boy Advance port that's similar to that. That's the best.
That's one of the best pieces.
Yeah.
Magic shops. This is all good stuff to know. Collecting heart containers. Lore of Hyrule.
Ooh.
Is this really lore? I mean,
I guess so.
What, like bushes? You'll find rupees and hearts hidden away in these bushes. Cut them down or pull them up to reveal hidden items. That's lore. That's lore.
Hidden by the Minish, right?
Yeah, that's what it should have in here. Fortune
That's why it's lore.
Okay, it's kind of telling you about,
all the different places. See, I feel like I like when games do this. You don't have to put everything in the game. You can have some auxiliary stuff that anyone who wants to know or wants helpful information can check this out,
Look at that. That's another one.
That's so good.
They like fill out these scenes from the game. Some of it's, that's the thing of like, it's people now would consider this spoilers. Like, people always talk about how the Dark World, I mean, I've even said it before, it's sort of this twist in the game, but you read this and it's like, no.
You straight up like, yeah.
You gotta get there, yeah. But, we're doing a little bit of role-playing, right, for Link.
Yeah. I still even feel like we'll get there, and once you get there, it's kind of like the you still don't know how much left you have to do once you get there. So I'd say it still counts as like a pretty big, like, turning twist point where you're like, you got stuff to do, boy.
I always love the item sections of, like, Zelda 1 has this too. The bug collecting net.
The Book of Mudora.
I mean, this is cool, like, that it was such a, like, important lore thing, like, a lore item.
The monoliths left by the Hylian people are inscribed with ancient script. If you find an inscription that you can't read, use this book, and its meaning will become clear.
That's cool. Like, just I'm cool with just a book being an item. Why not? Like a book to just translate messages. That's super fun. The Lonely Lad. See, it's already telling us about Flute Boy.
Yep.
So yeah, that we've got all the staffs, the capes, the medallions.
Love them.
Love the medallions. There's also wow, there's even like a
Even more.
wow, this is like maybe we'll skip this because this is like literally like stuff that happens in the game.
Yeah. Spoilers.
But I mean, it is cool to see. We've got, you know, the scenes coming up in the game. Yeah, it even tells you like through the first 3 dungeons the story.
Yeah.
That's so cool. That's cool.
Pretty sweet.
Got a brief bestiary, which is funny.
Bestiary of Hyrule.
The last part of this tome, I love the way this is written. It has a lot of like, it's very fun, you know, like
Again, yeah, and again you get the narrator. I will introduce you to a few of the adversaries in this adventure.
I like this too. It's like it's interesting what they decided to include, you know, like I don't think this is all the enemies, is it?
It can't be.
No. So I think we're in a good spot. I think we'll stop here, and then this is sort of like a prologue, right? We'll get into it, and we'll start playing the game together. So,
I'm pumped.
I'm pumped too. Yeah,
I'm ready.
Stay tuned. We'll see you in a future video. Bye bye.